It's an argument that has resonated throughout the area for decades. Who is better, the New York Yankees or New York Mets? One thing is for sure, neither will succeed if the men in charge are no good. Yankees manager Aaron Boone and Mets manager Mickey Callaway are about to enter the second season of their respective tenures. Starting with the Mets. They were done in by injuries last season, which hurt their ability to compete. Buoyed by great starting pitchers, the Mets finished close to .500 with a 78-84 record. That was an 8-game improvement over the previous season. By all logic, the New York Mets had no right to finish with as many wins as they did. Their 16-26 record in one-run games exposed a weak bullpen. Additionally, an anemic offense cost them victories. In the National League, the Mets finished tied for last in batting average .237, 12th in ops .701, and 12th in runs scored 676. Poor offense and a bad pen is a recipe for disaster. Callaway managed to keep his team competitive for the year. In 2018, the Mets were nobody's easy out. It was a surprise to many when Yankees GM Brian Cashman plucked Aaron Boone from the ESPN broadcast booth to take over the team from Joe Girardi. He did plenty to justify his hiring. The New York Yankees won 100 games in 2018 and finished in second place, 8 games behind Boston. It's quite a rare feat to win in triple digits and finish so far back. Division rival and eventual World Series champion Red Sox were that good. Still, Aaron Boone's Bronx Bombers were a force all season, winning 9 more games than they did in 2017. Their calling card was a Major League record 267 home runs. An astonishing 12 players finished with double-digit homers. The long ball could come from anyone at any time. There weren't many opportunities for opponents to pitch around Yankees hitters. We asked our roundtable panel this week, who is the better manager, Mickey Callaway or Aaron Boone? Next, winning makes the difference. Page 2. Aaron Boone, New York Yankees. New York Mets. Photo by Adam Hunger. Getty Images. Who asked who the better manager? 1 year in a difficult task. The Yankees have a team stacked with talent, and Aaron Boone sort of just let it fly, and they maxed themselves out in the playoffs. As for Mickey Callaway, we saw him take a Mets roster that was kind of in shambles and win some games, but he lost more. Callaway had to overcome a massive learning curve as well. The Mets struggled or thrived for months at a time during his rookie managerial campaign. He needs to be able to build something for a long period of time and not have it be such a roller coaster. The Mets can't afford to pump the brakes anymore, and Callaway has to show he can do that. To get back to Boone, he needs to do a better job in the postseason. I think he made a lot of mistakes in the ALDS with leaving pitchers in too long or too little. He has arguably the most talented roster in baseball to work with, and GM Brian Cashman gave him even more weapons for this year, so he needs to not have his team hit their heads on the ceiling they have, but burst through it. As for who is better, that is subjective. There are a lot of moving parts. The Yankees simply won more games and took talent that was up, and stayed up with it. So on that merit, I would say Boone has the slight edge. But Callaway also had the Mets about where you would have expected, and he helped Jacob deGrom bust onto the scene and win a Cy Young. So, yes, it's Boone right now, but only on the winning standard. The rest is really close. Come back in 1 year and ask about year 2, it could be a whole different answer. Next, maximizing what he had. Page 3. Mickey Callaway, New York Mets. New York Yankees. Photo by Adam Hunger. Getty Images. Let me just preface this by saying that my bias may be showing here, but I honestly think that Callaway is the better manager of the two. Yes, Boone skippered the Yankees to a 100-win season and a playoff appearance last year, but he was pretty much handed the keys to a Mercedes in his first year at the helm. Callaway, on the other hand, might as well have been given a used car that continually broke down throughout the season. As fans can attest to, the Mets finished with a disappointing 77-85 record last year, thanks to a plethora of bad injuries plaguing the squad. However, the team's post-All-Star break performance is pretty telling as to the kind of manager Callaway is. Callaway had to field a quadruple-A roster for most of the season, but he somehow skippered the club to a 38-30 record after the All-Star break last season. Pretty respectable considering what he had to work with, but what makes it more impressive is that those 38 wins were the most that any National League East team recorded in the second half and, more importantly, the exact same number of wins that the Yankees tallied in their second half of the year. Now that he has a much more talented team to manage, I think Callaway can establish himself as one of the best managers in baseball if he leads the Mets to the postseason in year 2. Next, step into the spotlight page for Aaron Boone, New York Yankees. New York Mets, photo by Michael Reeves, Getty Images. The job of Major League Manager has changed over the past 2 decades. Formerly, they worked on the "because I'm the boss and I said so" managerial technique. The dynamic now, it's much more important to manage personalities and individuals. It's a characteristic that both Mickey Callaway and Aaron Boone do well. More from Empire writes, back when you consider what Mickey Callaway had to work with talent-wise, for the whole of the season, it's a wonder the won as many games as they did. He couldn't show us the full breadth of his managerial acumen due to injuries. It's interesting to think of what he could have done if Michael Conforto, Yoenis Cespedes, Juan Lagares, et al. Were healthy all season. My biggest criticism of Callaway is that he overmanaged the pitchers. I realize he had a hot mess of a bullpen pen all year, but I would have liked to see him let the starters pitch deeper into games instead of flipping relievers every few batters. Otherwise, he did a nice job. On the opposite side of town, when Joe Girardi and the New York Yankees initially parted ways, what odds could you have gotten that Aaron Boone would win the job? I think Boone did a heck of a job in 2018. Detractors will say that the Yankees have so much talent that being their manager is an easy job. In this day and age, it takes a special person to handle the spotlight associated with the position. The media and fan scrutiny has turned up to 11 in the Bronx. The Yankees won 100 games. They did it with 1 solid starter, Luis Severino, and 2 keep us in contention starters, Masahiro Tanaka and CC Sabathia. Yes, they pounded the ball on offense but had to overcome significant injuries to Greg Bird and Gary Sanchez. Additionally, Boone masterfully integrated young second base star Gleyber Torres into the lineup. 1 year in, I'd give the nod to Boone. Next, 3 realistic goals from Mets Brandon Nimmo in 2019. What do you think? Let us know on social media.